Good evening. Greetings, friends of Hugh. I'm Karl Lindholm, Dean of This and That at Middlebury. As Hugh's friend and colleague for nearly 3 decades, I'm honored to be asked to be part of this event celebrating Hugh and his remarkable Middlebury career. Our time at Middlebury, Hugh's and mine, basically coincides, though Hugh is much older than I am.
And you're much wiser.
I'm better looking. That's not true, actually. Some people haven't seen me for a long time, and every year my pate gets hoarier and my girth gets wider, and Hugh looks exactly the same, doesn't he? My job tonight, as Meg Story Groves outlined it for me, is to officiate and to provide a little context. She told us just last Thursday that she hoped to keep the program to about an hour. So my job is to keep the line moving, as Buster used to tell us in Proctor Dining Hall. Now, I explained my dilemma to some of my students, first-year students. We used to call them freshmen, but now they're first-year men and women, in Cook Commons. I said, there are about 100 people on this program. Some of them can't even clear their throats in 5 minutes. And they all love the guy. So the students said, you need a hook. You're going to have to give them the hook. So they made me a hook. If they go on too long, I'm going to have to get the hook. So they made me a hook. You can see they made me a hook from my genuine facsimile Emilio Painter's cane. So anyone who runs over gets the hook. Or they get bopped on the head and find out who put the pain in Emilio Painter's cane. But before I ask Zach Bork to come forward and start the formal part of the program, I do want to provide a few words about Hugh and give you a quick sense of his background. Now, as many of you know, Hugh was born in a log cabin and was raised by wolves. That's not true. The hook? Yeah. He's a child of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, raised in Brookline, attended Milton Academy, before coming to Middlebury. His dad was a much admired family doctor who made house calls, and also taught at the Harvard Medical School. His mom was primarily a homemaker, as was the custom, who volunteered her time to various Boston causes, and was the driver of the family wagon to points throughout New England in support of Hugh's and his brother's athletic interests. Hugh is the oldest of 3 Marlow boys. His brothers would be here tonight, but it's a long drive for them. They both live in London. His brothers went to Williams and Harvard. Hugh came to Middlebury because, as he put it, I got in. At Middlebury, Hugh was a big man on campus, truly. He was president of his fraternity when frats were big. He was Winter Carnival King when that and captain of a very good ice hockey team. Defeated Northeastern in the Boston Garden. He was a sociology major who once took a math class from Dr. Bowker, who told him at the end of the course that he would pass him if he promised never to take another math class. Like all men at Middlebury, Hugh was a ROTC cadet, ROTC, Army ROTC, and earned his commission in the Army when he graduated in 1957. Within 6 months of his graduation, he was married to a Middlebury woman and a second lieutenant in the Army. He spent a year in Korea and a year in Fort Knox. His branch was armor, tanks. His year in Korea, shortly after the war, was spent right up near the DMZ. And he told me this good story. I said, use it if it feels right. He said, I was right up by the border, on the DMZ in North Korea. He said, he said, I have a demonstration. He said, I've been in North Korea 50 times. And what he did is he stood right on the border and he went, North Korea, South Korea, North Korea, South Korea. 50 times. So Hugh has been to North Korea 50 times. His year in Korea, New England, his year in Korea, we try to lose it, but we can't get it. It's always a good idea to try to lose that accent. His year in Korea, shortly after the war, was spent right up near the DMZ, as I said. His great accomplishment in the Army, he told me, was his contribution to the team that won the divisional softball championship and got a chance to go to Tokyo to compete. After his Army years, he went into sales with Exxon and a small printing company in Rhode Island. He did tell me he was in charge of TBA with Exxon, which is tires, batteries, and accessories. So really, he was in charge of keeping the toilet paper rolls in the bathrooms at the Exxon stations. During this time, 3 more Marlow men came into the world. Sons Dave, who is now a rancher in Texas. Chris, who is in private security in Nigeria right now. And Andy, an artist in New Mexico. He has 3 grandchildren. As Barbara told me yesterday, the Marlow men are an independent lot. In the decade before coming to Middlebury, Hugh helped start a prep school in Aspen, Colorado. Aspen Country Day, still in operation today, sending students to Middlebury. He was hired to coach ice hockey and work in the administration. When he got there, however, he was asked, "What will you teach?" And this question threw him. But he remembered the classes he took from Roland Illick, and he said, geography. And the course he taught, there you go, and the course he taught was actually before its time. It was an interdisciplinary cultural studies course that combined his love for travel, adventure, and history. I asked Hugh recently how he liked teaching and working in the high school, Aspen Country Day, and he said, I loved it. Of his life in sales in Rhode Island, I loved it. The military, I loved it. Being a student at Middlebury, I loved it. You get a sense that this is a fairly adaptable and positive person. In 1980, he answered the call of his alma mater. That does have his alma mater. Alma mater. And he came here with Barbara and their 15-month-old baby, Laura. Finally, a Marlow girl. Laura is now a woman who combines Hugh's exuberance and Barbara's restraint and elegance. She's here tonight with her husband, Jackson. I don't want to go on too long and have to give myself the hook, so I'll just say that the rest, of course, is history, the history we celebrate tonight, and the character of this exuberant, positive, loyal Middlebury man. Now, Zach Bork will start us off. I know Zach Bork as the possessor of a nice mid-range jump shot. He's a basketball player. Hugh, the ice hockey player, he on occasion spent some time in the gymnasium, but only in the periods between the periods in the ice hockey games next door. In the gym, you get warm. But he likes Zach anyway. Zach is a friend and classmate of Laura's at Middlebury and an accomplished alumnus in his own right. He's vice president of the Middlebury College Alumni Association. Zach?